What a beautiful kitchen with a beautiful backsplash. Nothing like a backsplash. Hey, everybody, and welcome to Chef AJ Live. I'm your host, Chef AJ, and this is where I introduce you to amazing people like you who are doing great things in the world that I think you should know about. Today's guest is Erica Nedley, and she is going to be making some incredible recipes from her cookbooks. You may not remember her because she hasn't been on, but you might recall the name Nedley because her husband, Dr. Neil Nedley, has been on the show several times, and he's actually here today as well. Please welcome the Nedleys to the show. It's nice to see you guys together.
Thank you.
It's
Great
nice
to be with
here.
you again, Chef
Thank you very
AJ.
much.
The kitchen is beautiful. I can't wait to see what you're going to cook up for us.
Thank you. I am going to try to get as many fruits and vegetables together as we can. And I'm going to start with a smoothie.
Oh, nice.
I don't think it takes great skill to create a very tasty smoothie. And I want to encourage you, when you have leftovers or things that you're not quite sure how to prepare, look into making a smoothie. A little bit of rice, a little bit of oatmeal, a little bit of nuts, a vegetable here or a fruit here. A smoothie, it's a wonderful way to put everything together and taste good. So I have the blender, and I have a helper that will not use the blender in the kitchen. So we don't have to worry about sound system. And it's a morning smoothie, so we have to start with some orange juice. So 2/3 cup of orange juice, and I have some wonderful spinach.
Nice. Spinach is high in omega-3, which is one of the things that we really recommend for mental health. And of course, it's also number 3 on the list in antioxidants. So it's one of those mental health foods.
I am adding to it some frozen bananas that will make it very smooth and cool. But also you can add cashews, also be nice, will give it a smooth flavor. Some blueberries. Dr. Nedley's favorite fruit is blueberries. I put a lot of berries out, but where are the blueberries? You would like to ask that all the time. And then we have to add some omega-3s. So I got some hemp seed, like 2 tablespoons of hemp seed, a little bit of flaxseed. What happens if I would add a lot of flaxseed, this will become a little more slimy. So I like the hemp because it gives that nutty texture without increasing the viscosity. More omega-3, a little bit of brain food. Look at those. Don't they look like little brains?
Yes.
We got our walnuts.
Walnuts.
And then some carrot powder. Now I have to tell you the reason of the carrot powder. I have boys, and we had some guests one time, and we did the smoothie without darkening it, and they would not touch it because it was green. So we thought, what can we do to change the color? So the carrot plus the blueberries, you will never know that you have a green smoothie. That's one way to add your kale and your spinach. Would you mind blending this to your smoothies? Just do something. Now, why didn't I choose chocolate, Dr. Nedley?
Well, because chocolate requires a lot of sugar and also a lot of fat to keep it palatable, where carob is naturally sweet, and we don't have to add in the sugar and the fat aspect of things. I mean, cocoa does have some antioxidants in it, but I also wanted to mention about the hemp seed. Hemp is not only high in omega-3, it's also the highest seed in zinc. Just 3 ounces of hemp seed is going to have 9 milligrams of zinc. And zinc is coming to the forefront as a very important mental health food. It helps to lower our adrenaline levels and increase our dopamine levels to increase proper motivation. And so this is something that we demonstrate also in our depression and anxiety recovery program. In our cookbook section is a smoothie such as this.
The one thing with chocolate also, we know it's very addictive. I
Yes.
remember you talking about
Yes.
The-
Yeah, it is addictive. It starts lowering the dopamine set point over time, which is not necessarily the healthiest thing. So
That I've never heard you see. I love that. What I love about this show is I always learn something new. I've heard you talk about brain chemistry and dopamine, but I've never heard you say that chocolate lowers the dopamine set point over time. Dr. Goldhammer would probably love to know that because he's not a fan of chocolate either.
okay. Yeah,
Okay,
so
so
by
yes.
lowering the dopamine set point, that means that when you're just in a neutral mode, your mood is lower than it would be otherwise. And so that's the problem with addictive elements is that no matter what the addiction is, it starts lowering our dopamine set point. So first we do it to get high, but as we do it more frequently, we're no longer getting high from it, we're just getting numb. And in between times, we feel this deep, distressing sense of deprivation because our dopamine set point is so low. So here it is, after it was blended up. This is, you got it blended without the sound effects, so we can still talk here. And,
So you ready?
absolutely. Okay. This is too much for me.
No, you don't have to drink it all. I'll drink the rest.
But it's going to be worth it, I can tell you.
That's a brilliant trick about using the carob. So it looks like a chocolate smoothie. So kids will drink it because they won't know it's green.
Oh, I will taste it just to make sure.
Yeah.
Not that you got all the.
It's great. No, this is a very.
So Erica, were you already plant-based when you met Dr. Nedley?
No, not at all. I came from Romania when I was 18, and I couldn't speak English. And I met Dr. Nedley actually in church. He was home from college in a spring break. So shortly after that, he took me out to eat. And I ordered the steak plate, and he ordered the vegetable plate. And I was thinking that the waitress probably felt like she needed to give him the steak and I get the plant dish. But anyhow, it was an introduction, I guess, to what Dr. Nedley eats. So then I thought, if I really want to have a healthy relationship, I better learn to cook plant-based. So I went to visit his mother, and she was an exceptional cook. I cannot tell you how many cookbooks she had, how many shows she would listen to, how many recipes she would try. She would go to bed reading recipes. So she was a cook in the days when vegetarianism was a disease.
It was thought to be a disease.
I mean, that's what, when people heard that she would cook plant-based, they would not believe it. So she would teach them how to do that. So one of the people that she thought was me. So I learned a lot of his favorite recipes, but that was the first step. We became, we were lacto-ovo, right?
Lacto-ovo vegetarians, right?
And we would use quite a few eggs, and you would make some interesting dishes yourself.
Yeah, they weren't necessarily the healthiest, although they were meat-free. But when I was in residency, I started, after my medical school training, I started learning from a cardiologist about being totally plant-based. No milk, no eggs. I thought that was unhealthy. And but I knew I couldn't just say that. I had to come up with medical and scientific data to support it. So I started searching the medical literature to prove him wrong, and I ended up realizing that he was right. It was actually far healthier to go totally plant-based. So Erica and I had been married about 6 months at this point, and I came home.
And that was 35 years ago?
Yes, 35 years ago. I came home and told her, Erica, we're not on the healthiest diet. And she said, what is the healthiest diet? And I said, it's totally plant-based, no meat, milk, eggs, cheese. And I said, do you think we'd be able to move that direction in about a year or so, transition that way? And she says, if it's the healthiest diet, why not start now? And I said, are you really ready for this? And she says, I can do some research. Yeah, we can start right away. That'll be the challenge.
The challenge
Can't
was,
all spouses be like that? This is the biggest problem we see, is that spouses are unsupportive.
Yeah. So I realized I married the right woman when she had that as the response. And she became a very good vegan cook. And within a year, she was doing cooking schools and teaching people how to do this.
yeah, that was quite an experience trying to make your own milk, like rice milk and not milk.
Well, she made almond milk. She would make her own almond milk before it was ever sold in the stores.
So it was fun trying new ideas of cooking because I didn't have a lot of experience in cooking. So that was very nice. I am making a citrusy oat groat, and we can apply that actually to a lot of different concepts of grains. I like the slow cookers or the Instapot. Instapot, it's actually been a lifesaver because it takes only 30-40 minutes to get your grain cooked, and that is very nice. And what I have is the Instapot here.
So I'm looking at this and I'm noticing this comes from, this is the recipe, and this is what it's going to look
she's
like.
going to have it there, but
Okay.
it comes from here.
This is
Yeah, I've been posting the link to where they can get the book.
Brighten Up Breakfast cookbook. Okay, great.
So I have two kind of grains today, actually. We do the citrusy oat groat, and what I have, it's right here. We mix a little bit of.
This would still be more like breakfast and brunch.
Yes.
Correct?
Now, why do we choose the oat groat versus quick oat? We know it's less unrefined, and that will control our energy throughout the day. The benefits of the slower digestion and the
it's more unrefined, not less unrefined.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. So that would be an advantage. It's also high in melatonin, which is a potent antioxidant as well and can help with mental health.
So I add to it some orange juice zest and a little bit of cardamom. Mix it all up. And then I like to I can serve it just like that, but particularly, remember, I have 4 boys. And introducing them to some of those dishes, you have to make it eye appealing. So I have 3 kinds of basic parfait that I'm gonna use, and strawberry, banana, oranges. And I'm going to take an ice cream scoop and scoop the cereal right in the middle. We'll make 2 bowls. 1. Sometimes when it sits a while, we'll stick a little bit more. But there you go. And then we are going to use different toppings. Now, for the banana and strawberries, I like to also try another cereal, which would be the millet. And I have some cooked millet here. Millet also, it's a very nutritious grain.
And it's usually pretty good for those that want to be gluten-free.
So that's our alternative. We got the millet and we got the oat groats. And then we use different toppings. I have your favorite. I've got some blueberries here.
All right.
We sprinkle right
Blueberries are the #1 antioxidant fruit, and the anthocyanins actually help our memory, help to preserve our memory and improve it as well. So that's been several studies from Harvard coming out on the anthocyanins in blueberries, and to a lesser extent in blackberries help with this. Just 1 bowl of blueberries a week will reduce your risk of dementia later on in life significantly.
Yeah, I just found out today that my favorite singer has Alzheimer's, Tony Bennett, and I saw him in concert right before the pandemic, and he didn't miss a beat or anything.
Wow.
They said he's had it for about 4 years. It's hard to believe he's 94. It's just, it's so sad. Hey, Dr. Nedley, Dina says, my hubby knows the benefit of a vegan diet. He ate that way for 8 months, but the turkey he had at Thanksgiving put a spell on him, and he's been a carnivore ever since. Why would a turkey do that?
Well, it's not only the taste. Turkey is high in tryptophan, and so it might be that he's recognizing some of the benefits of tryptophan. But tryptophan has some nice alternative sources. In fact, this is one of the nice things about this cookbook, since you might wonder, Brighten Up Breakfast, why do we emphasize breakfast? It's actually because studies have shown that breakfast is the most important meal of the day for our mental health and emotional health. And so when we're dealing with people with depression and anxiety, we really want to emphasize breakfast big time. And we also want to emphasize foods that are high in tryptophan and get that tryptophan into the brain. Tryptophan is the least abundant amino acid in the diet, and that's the one thing turkey is famous for. So I would recommend that she choose plant foods that are higher in tryptophan, and he might notice a mood elevation that could be even superior to turkey if it's not just a taste issue for him.
Why would anybody think a dead animal tastes good? I mean, unless you were a mountain lion.
Yeah, it actually requires, a lot of people don't realize this, it actually requires better cooks to get that to taste well than it is what we're doing here today.
I'm going to make an additional topping. So we can have different kind of nuts and different kind of milks to sprinkle over.
I don't know if you can see this very well, but you can see it does have that nice eye appeal. Are we able to, should I show it closer to the camera? Will it actually do better?
It almost looks like a banana split.
I would definitely use that as a banana split cell. For my boys, because we had 4 boys, breakfast was always a must. And I like to come up with a creative way to convince them that they have to eat their breakfast before they go to school. And
how old are the boys?
Well, the youngest is 17 now, but she used to, before she put him to bed, the question would be, what do you want to have for breakfast in the morning? And that was one of their favorite discussions on what they would love to have. And so they would order it up, and she would have it ready for them.
It helped me stay organized, and I made sure that I had all the ingredients the night before. Sometimes I had to do a quick trip to the store, but most of the time we're able to have a good pantry.
Yeah, but the rest of them, our oldest is turning 30 this year. And so they're between the ages of 30 and 17. All raised vegan, plant-based, and all very successful, and they love their breakfast.
I'm going to do the omega topping as another option for topping those cereals in the morning, whatever kind of cereal you choose. By the way, I like to also use the short grain brown rice. That's very nice. The barley, the whole barley. It's not a flake. I like the steel cut oats. Is additional ways to change the variety of my cooked cereal. So the omega topping, what I have, it's ground flaxseed and ground chia seed. I use the white chia. Sometimes that's all what I have because of baking in cakes for binder or puddings or whatever, the chia, the white chia, and it makes it more appealing again. A 1/4 cup of hemp and a 1/4 cup of walnuts. So it's a 1/4 of everything, but only the chia and the flaxseed were grounded in a coffee grinder. That's when we like to use our coffee grinder.
Yeah, that's right. I'm actually grinding the healthy seeds.
Okay, now I mix them nicely. I can choose to add a sweetener, or I can omit that. And the choice of sweetener I'm using is the date sugar. It's the healthiest sweetener out there because it's just dehydrated dates.
Mhm.
So I have 2 tablespoons of date sugar, and that way I don't have to add anything else to my cooked cereal, just a little bit of that date sugar. Now, this topping also goes well on toast. It goes like with applesauce, would go very well on a salad if you omit the date sugar. So that's why sometimes I do half with date sugar, half without it. And that would be my...
So you would sprinkle it on the salad then?
I can sprinkle it on the salad, yes. I'm sprinkling it on the...
On those things that look like banana splits is what she's putting it on right now.
Okay. Then we have some more nuts. It's breakfast. That's when I encourage people to eat the nuts. Take your fat intake early in the morning. You have the whole day to burn the calories.
Yeah.
So I'm going to reveal another secret of yours.
Yes.
He loves macadamia nuts.
They're the highest in monounsaturated fat, so they'll raise your HDL and also they're better control of blood sugars if you have metabolic syndrome or diabetes with macadamias.
Then we have chopped toasted almonds is a possibility, or walnuts is another possibility. So you can top them with any nut that you would have at hand. And then there's
a reason why you put the macadamias on the banana one. And
no, it doesn't matter. It's whatever you choose.
I know she put almonds on the strawberry.
No, I don't think that makes a difference.
Combination.
Then you can choose to serve it with milk, and it's amazing. We started with making the rice milk or the almond milk or whatever. Now you can go to the store and you got hemp sweetened and unsweetened, and you got soy, and you got almond unsweetened or whatever. So just an idea, I brought some unsweetened almond milk that we like. The soy milk also is nice. Oatmeal milk. And again, you told me about this one day.
Yeah, this is milkadamia. It's actually from macadamia nuts.
So
one of my favorite.
We sprinkle some of that, and then I think we're ready to eat some of this. But I think I'm gonna save it. What do you think?
I don't know. It's looking awful appetizing.
Now, if you really wanna make it any sweeter, which I know you won't, but you could drizzle a little bit of maple syrup. That's very optional if you want it.
Yeah, if you're dealing with people that have sweet tooths, which a lot of our depressed people have. Once again, I don't know. We can't really tilt this too much because she's got milk on it. But let's see if we can. Yeah, you can kind of get an idea of what that looks like. And this is the one that had the macadamias, and she put the milkadamia on it, so you can get an idea there. And then the orange walnut blueberry preparation is there as well. So
the other thing that people are busy in the morning, they just don't have time to make breakfast. And that's why I like the Instapot or slow cooker, because then in the morning, the only thing is I get some fruit and I got my cereal cooked. I keep little jars with different seeds and different like dry coconut, what's this? Sesame seeds, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, hemp seed, dried fruit like raisins. And I keep them in those little jars. So this morning, I'm in the mood of making it a different cereal. I just add different toppings. So every morning, I can have a new cooked cereal, new different topping, different kind of fruit, whatever it's in season, and you can have a very healthy way to start your day without having a lot of time at hand, because everything is planned and organized.
Great.
let's see, we are going to change now to making, let's see, the apple, oh, one more cereal, may as well wear it cereals.
Okay.
Is the apple blueberry rice cereal. You actually had it this morning.
Ah, very nice.
And what we use, it's very simple, leftover rice. Or you can cook your own rice. I do like the brown rice. I always use, and I like the sticky rice. The sticky brown rice. It's a good morning cereal also. So I have this rice here.
That's just regular brown rice?
Yep, it's been cooked. Do you mind taking this out? Let's see. Thank you. So we can see a little bit better here. So we have the rice, we have blueberries. We have to add those wonderful blueberries. Some nuts, walnuts, omega-3. And then I like to take an apple and just cut it in little pieces, dice it up. And again, because it's morning, we're gonna add some orange juice. Can I have that orange juice?
Just a handful of walnuts a day will lower your cholesterol significantly too if you have high LDL or total cholesterol.
What about people are asking, what if they have a nut allergy? Would seeds do the same thing?
Yeah, seeds could be very useful here. Is that right, Erica?
Yes, that's what we could use the seeds if you have, but also there are a lot of nuts. Some nuts, I remember we had a friend one time and he said, are there any cashews in here? I said, no, I don't think so. The next 2 hours, I knew that we had a little bit of cashew in the sauce. I didn't realize that. But he was not that allergic to walnuts. He could have the walnuts. However, if you're allergic to nuts, the seeds would be wonderful in here. The hemp seed, the pumpkin seeds, the sunflower seeds.
Pumpkin seeds, we talked about tryptophan, but pumpkin seeds are one of your highest sources of tryptophan, actually. So that would be, anything with that could help with that gentleman who wanted his turkey.
So again, we added, I'm adding a little bit of cardamom and a little bit of salt has been added already. And we just mix it up. And this is the rice blueberry cereal. How long did it take? I even cut the apple. Not even 5 minutes. So
yeah, definitely less than 5.
So now you can serve it again with additional milk if you want. I like to choose an apple that is not very sour and it's so it's not as tart, but also like pink lady or whatever. It just gives it that nice color. Golden delicious would be fine, but it's not as colorful.
Yeah, I think you're able to see it here, but it's very tasty, very fresh tasting, and certainly a great breakfast I had this morning utilizing that. Probably, I'm just asking you, but the one that probably takes the longest time, but is my favorite at breakfast, because you have to make it the day before, and then you soak it overnight, is the muesli.
Oh, that's very simple. You take oats and you soak them in.
You have the muesli recipe
yes,
in here, don't you?
we could give it to them because now you brought it up. But it's mainly fresh pineapple. You take about 2 cups of that, and then you add a shredded apple, like 2 apples to it. And you just let it soak in that liquid overnight. About 3 cups of rolled oats with additional nuts and dry fruit, and it's delicious.
Even when company's over, they just can't say enough in regards to how healthy and tasty that muesli is in the morning.
Good. I need 1 second to take this out of here. Then we're changing gears a little bit. We're gonna make, yes, the English muffins. Oh, you're going back to that smoothie.
Yeah, it's hard not to resist this while she's changing things around.
What's your favorite Erica meal, Dr. Nedley? And does Erica teach at Weimar?
She teaches in the Depression and Anxiety Recovery Program at Weimar. We have a lot of cooking instructors.
Yes.
In fact, there's 8 of them. We were going to use the Weimar kitchen today, but there's 8 different cooks cooking 8 different recipes on film today for the New Start Online. So we weren't able to go there. But yes, we love utilizing that New Start demonstration kitchen. Boy, favorite meal, that would be tough to say. I pretty much like everything that this girl makes.
Sometimes it's kind of what we find in the refrigerator. And then he said, can you do it again? And I really like that recipe. I said, I'm sorry, I don't know. It's a little bit of that and a little bit of that. And it's just not enough to write it down, kind of, not enough time. We are going to make the English muffin sandwich. That's the name of it. But I chose pita bread today. So this is very, very, one of the quickest sandwiches that you can, it's faster than, that you can make. It's faster than going to the store and buying something.
This would be more your savory breakfast or your brunch.
And what we have, it's a little bit of water with soy sauce. Just mix the water with the soy sauce, and then we add some seasonings. And that's the nice thing about this recipe. You can choose whatever seasonings you like. If you want to give it a little more smoky flavor. I had a little bit of nutritional yeast, onion powder, garlic powder, a little bit of chicken style like seasoning, and you just mix it up. I'm gonna get just a little bit of water here to rinse this jar. Here we go. And then what you do, you take a pound of tofu. Now with this tofu, again, I always look at the expiration date, March 24, so we're safe. Mm-hmm. It's been already rinsed, drained and rinsed. We cut it in half, and then we cut it in 4. 1, 2.
Many people, when they come to our program, it's the first time they've tried plant-based in their life. They don't even realize we're going to teach them plant-based. They're there for depression and anxiety that's been treatment resistant. And so they're coming to a program that uses every scientific tool available to eradicate their depression and anxiety. And so they didn't necessarily think they were signing up, at least for the 10 days. We recommend they do this for at least 6 weeks if they want to experience the greatest benefits from it. But they're doing the first 10 days with us, and they really, the ones who are carnivore lovers, like you were talking about earlier, they love this recipe.
Now you could bake this, and I have done it particularly in large quantities. But many times you do only 2 slices, 4 slices, or whatever. You don't, or maybe just 1 pound of tofu. I don't have to wait an hour for my oven, or not an hour, but it takes a much longer time to bake. So I use a non-stick skillet, and I just dip my tofu in it. I don't marinate it. It's ready to go, and I just, my skillet, it's a little bit hot. It goes a little bit better. And then you just make sure you don't flip it till it's dark brown on the bottom. So you want to make sure that liquid is absorbed.
And it'll cook fast because this is a gas stove that we're using over there with the flame. And it won't be long till these are ready to serve in your pita bread or English muffin style with a little tomato and onion.
Yeah, I'm gonna let those cook here while we're. I already had some left over. I mean, some prepared already. So you can make your own mayonnaise, or you can use something from the store and stuff your pita bread with it. That's what it looks like, nice and brown.
Tofu is also very high in tryptophan, so this might be even a better substitute for the turkey man is to do something like this.
I gotta tell you,
That's what we'll call him right now, the turkey man.
So I got a tomato here, and we have some sliced onion here. We'll just stick it right in here. You can put any veggies you want in it, but I made it very simple today with just onions and tomatoes, and there you go. Some people like a little bit of sweet relish on that. I think you already had your lunch. Smoothie, I think, was your dessert, right? Okay.
It does look good, though. I'm ready to have another one now.
So, are any of your kids around? How was it for them growing up plant-based, and especially being boys or men now?
Well, they all have stuck to it. You know, not one has rejected this way of eating. In fact, our 17-year-old was just telling us how much pressure he was under in the holidays around his friends to eat meat that they had. Another friend had brought over some turkey and all of that, and he said it just wasn't appetizing to him. He said he just couldn't, bear the thought of eating a dead turkey. And so he said, no, I'm not going to do it. I don't care what pressure you put under me. I'm not going to do it.
Good for him.
He's in pre-med right now. He probably would be here right now. He's actually taking a flying lesson, but one of his friends from college is actually helping us out here, Christian. He's in the background. There he is right there.
Hi.
And Christian is also plant-based. In fact, we're in his kitchen today, and his mother is a dietitian who actually made her own cookbook called From Plant to Plate that is used extensively at Weimar. And she's also someone you may want to have on your show in the future because of her dietitian background.
Tammy Bivens?
And Tammy Bivens, yeah. Have you had her?
I'm just Googling it. Well, can you ask her to please get in touch with me? I'm booking for June now. I'd love to have a dietitian on, or anybody that cooks plant-based.
Okay. All right. Very good. Did you hear that, Christian? Wanting your mother to be on in June is when she's scheduling out for.
Nice. I'm pulling it up on Amazon. That's terrific.
Yeah, they were the first cookbook. Tammy Bivens' cookbook was the first one to actually have a QR code on every recipe. And if you would scan that QR code, you would see the recipe being demonstrated online by video, every step of it. And
that's very cool.
So, yeah, it has that feature so you can see it being made in front of your eyes before you make it with that nice QR code.
How many of your sons are pre-med?
Next thing we're gonna make, there are a lot of recipes, and we're trying to get through as many as we can.
She asked the question though. What was the question?
Sorry.
How many of your sons went into medicine?
Okay, so we have our oldest son went into physical therapy, which is what Erica is as well. Erica is a physical therapist, and our second oldest son is a physician. He's in residency right now in Southern California. He and his wife are great plant-based cooks as well. And they just had our first granddaughter, who's just a few months old. And then our fourth son is pre-med, and he's planning on being a physician as well. So son 2 and 4. Son number 3 went into business, and he's actually working for the Nedley Health organization that has to do with mental health. So he has a little show called Let's Talk Mental Health. And that he comes out with. There is your roasted.
Yeah.
Your roasted. What would you call those? Tofu strips? What do you call them?
Yeah, tofu strips that they've just been browned. I didn't have to use any oil if you have a good pot. And now I'm gonna brown them on that side. But I just want you to see. You want to make sure that liquid stays when you turn it. You go all the way to the bottom of the pan and scrape that, otherwise, because that's where the flavor is in that batter, that it's turning brown, and it's very nice looking.
All right.
Where's your son doing his residency in Southern California?
He's doing it in Loma Linda University, in between LA and Palm Springs there.
Nice. Does he want to come on the show?
You
Get
know,
the
he
whole
probably would.
Laura,
It'd
definitely.
be great to have Laura on there as well. They have the Hollywood appearance as far as attractiveness, and they're also very vivacious and full of energy. So that could be someone else. These would be in your, the 20-somethings that would be cooking for you.
Yeah, they really like good, wholesome recipes.
Yes.
And it's exciting to see that. No dairy at all, or they're just very, very careful on what they eat.
People are asking where they find the show, Let's Talk Mental Health. Is it a podcast? Is it on YouTube? How do people find it?
I think maybe at nedleyhealth.com, just nedleyhealth.com, and you might Google in Let's Talk Mental Health. I know I should know more about where this is at, but there's a whole lot of episodes, and they come out with new episodes all the time. Actually, Christian is looking right now to give you a more specific site. He has a number of guests on there. He interviews me, his father, once in a while, but he also interviews some of our other professionals.
It's a YouTube.
It's a YouTube channel?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll find the link and I'll put it in the show notes or in the chat box.
Okay, great.
Okay, I'm going to make a little more complex. This can be a main dish, not just breakfast. It does still come out of our Brighten Up cookbook. It's a grilled polenta with veggie and sausage. And I have to admit, my number one cereal I grew up with was Mama Liga.
Oh, that's the Romanian word.
That's
Mama Liga.
for cornmeal mush.
It's a cornmeal mush, but in Romania it's very famous, and everybody knows what Mama Liga is.
We couldn't buy the dry cereal usually. I was probably maybe 10 years old when I remember having my first my first bowl of cornflakes. And that was the only cereal we could buy in Romania. But cornmeal and this Mama Liga, we could have it breakfast, lunch, and supper. Depends what you served and how you did it. So I couldn't have a cookbook without
some Mama Liga.
Yeah. I just turned the
so it's called, the recipe itself is called grilled polenta.
So this polenta,
veggies and sausage.
The polenta I just make the night before if I want it for this recipe, so it has enough time to chill. That's what I did last night. And you just add a little bit of salt, cornmeal. I like the a little more coarse cornmeal, and then water. And then I chose different dishes. You can already make it in little squares that you just it's ready to top it. You can use a nice bread pan that you can slice it afterwards.
Should we get it closer?
Yes, you can do that.
And show those little squares there.
Or you can put it in a casserole, just in a typical 9x11 casserole. It just comes right out.
Yeah, look at that.
And then I slice it in cubes, so you can do it that way too. But this particular shape is already beautifully made, so it makes it an appealing dish when you serve it. And what I'm gonna do with that now, I'm gonna heat it up. I'm gonna put it on a skillet, non-stick skillet, and we're just gonna brown them. So I think it's good. Yes, or 3 or 4. We don't have to put them in. Then we have vegetables. We have to start with that. And we use a little bit of water on the bottom. We don't have to use any oil on that, about half a cup. And a little bit of chicken style seasoning. You can make your own. You can shop. There are different brands there. I like to choose things that don't have the oil in them, just different spices, but I do make it also at home. And then we're gonna add some onion. We cannot go without onion. And then garlic. We have 3 cloves of garlic here that's been minced. And the vegetables, I like to have them a little bit coarse, chopped a little bit coarse. So I saute those vegetables till they're tender, crisp.
That's sweet red bell pepper she's putting on.
Yes, tell me
Now
about that.
she's putting on my least favorite vegetable, but I like it in here.
I thought eggplant was your least favorite vegetable.
Oh, no, I like eggplant, but no, it's my least favorite is asparagus.
The eggplant.
There's an eggplant right
a
there.
very typical recipe, Romanian recipe, would be you grill this on high temperature and they become the skin becomes completely hard, and then you take the inside out and you make something similar to baba ganoush. And he just loves that. But
It's a spread that you can put on bread and other things, but it's an eggplant spread.
so that was a very common, every place we went in Romania and visited somebody, they would serve us another eggplant dish. Anyhow, we're going to cook
No
those.
eggplant in this one, though.
Yes, no eggplant. We're just gonna steam those till they're crispy. And I'm gonna take a minute. Our polenta, it's browning right here on the skillet. And I don't like it to make it very thick because on the surface, I just want that heat to come through and have them nice and brown, but completely heated through.
All right.
And then sausages. Now, what are we gonna do for sausage? Because most of the places with, when you buy the sausages, processed ingredients and a lot of oil, fat, or other things like that. So I have a simple Italian sausage link that use all kind of a bean recipe, half a cup of beans. It can be pinto beans. In this particular recipe, I use black bean. And you add a lot of seasonings to it and some gluten flour. And when you mix it up,
So is that what's called the Italian sausage link?
links, and you will have that link. This is what, after you mix it, it turns out to be like this because of the gluten. So I shape it in a sausage link shape here, and then I take some aluminum foil.
Looking for the aluminum foil. Here it is.
Actually, you know what? I have one here already, just to give you an idea. We roll it up, not very tight, seal the ends, and you put it in the steamer. And that's what comes out. This is our sausage. And we're gonna slice it and we're gonna use it in our recipe. But a friend of mine, she was from Czech Republic or something like that. She came one time to my house and she says, I have to tell you the most amazing way to make your sausages. So since that time, whenever I need sausages, they freeze wonderful. I make a whole recipe and I just use what I need, and then the rest of it I freeze. Now this has 6 cloves of garlic. Romanians use a lot of onion and garlic, and particularly in this recipe, it's nice to have a little bit of spice.
Well, and garlic is the #1 antioxidant vegetable. Quite potent in its antioxidant effect. And again, one of the reasons why we use it a lot in depression recovery.
So I just slice the sausages. You can cube it. You can make any shape you want. If you want the little weenies or if you want the thick, fat sausage style, you can decide. It's depending on how you cut your dough, how you shape it. So that's the sausage right here.
Maybe we can get that closer to her there. Christian's going to show that to you, those little pieces there that she just cut, or those slices that will go on this polenta with the vegetables.
Now, while the vegetables are cooking, I know we're getting kind of close to the end of the show. We have to have two more things. We have to have the kale, right?
Yes.
Chef we have
Absolutely, got to get your greens in.
and then we'll have a dessert, a cookie. So stay on. We'll try to finish those as quickly as we can. Now, when I cook kale, I don't cook just a little bit. I like 3-4 batches of kale, and I just don't like to sit there and try to take it apart or chop it or whatever. I don't like the stem in this dish because it's taking longer to cook and the leaf is going to be done tender before the stem. I have used those in stews and they're nice, but I usually like to just strip my kale.
So notice how she's stripping it here. This is actually my favorite green, the way she makes it here. It's very simple, but stripping that kale, you can get a lot of it all at once.
Yeah, so it's very fast to prepare your kale when you have a lot. And then I take a big knife and I just, oops, where's my big knife? I just will go like that a little bit. I just coarsely chop it 3-4 times. Then I take a large onion in rings. I just slice it in rings. This is one of the reasons we thought we may not make the show today. It's been my wrist. And it's been very hard to work in the kitchen for the last 4 days, but I'm thankful we're able to use the hand today.
So this is a key. Once again, we have people coming to our program that they don't eat greens. They don't even really know that they're, they've tried them before maybe, but they just don't like them. But I don't think we've had anyone not like this kale recipe. So the onion is really a key part. You don't really taste the onion once you're in the kale, but the way she's doing it, it's an important season to make it appetizing for more people.
Yeah, so I had about half a cup of water in there, and then the rings of onions on the bottom, and then we have to add some garlic. So I have 3-4 large cloves of garlic. I just cut them in half, throw it in, and then we put the kale on top.
So those rings are in there mostly separated and on the bottom with the water. Does the lemon come afterwards?
The what?
The lemon.
Yeah, that's one word. Now I'm gonna cook it till it's soft.
So she went over to the stove, our flame stove right
but
now.
But not overcooked. We just steam
and
it.
it's very lightly steamed. How long will it take, Erica?
Probably about 10 minutes. So hopefully we'll have it.
And then once you get it out of there, is that when you put the lemon?
Yes, we put the lemon and some salt to taste. I really like my lemon in there. Freshly squeezed. I don't like the.
And that's a key ingredient too. So those onion rings, and then a key ingredient with the lemon afterwards, and it has a nice fresh taste.
Hopefully we can show you the finished dish right there in that. We'll put it right there by the kale. Okay, the last thing we're gonna do today is the walnut maple cookies. And that comes out from the depression, the way out. At the end, in the appendix, we have a few recipes in there. And
so this is not the Brighten Up Breakfast. This is the.
Well, I think getting rid of your depression by eating cookies sounds like a pretty good idea to me.
Yeah, a lot of our depressed patients call these happy cookies.
Hey, Dr. Nedley, there's a question, because I guess some people don't know that you've been on the show a couple times before doing wonderful PowerPoints, and you're actually a speaker on the upcoming Truth About Weight Loss. You guys have to register for that. I'll put a link. He gave an amazing PowerPoint. But the question about where the center is and a little bit more about it.
Yeah, so Weimar is in Northern California, because it's a little north of Sacramento. I-80 is what intersects the nation from San Fran to New York. And so we're right off of I-80, exit 130. And as soon as you get off of I-80, you are going to be on Weimar's property. So Weimar has a university, a college there that's primarily a health college, and it also has health lifestyle treatment programs. So we see a lot of people with advanced coronary disease, diabetes, a lot of the complications of diabetes, and then we have a separate program for depression and anxiety recovery and mental health aspects that are run in two separate facilities. Although we share some of the facilities, like the New Start Kitchen, depression and anxiety recovery will demonstrate foods to their guests that are that don't compete with the same time that New Start is doing their cooking schools there. So Weimar is known for the acronym New Start, which all stands for a different health remedy. N is nutrition, E is exercise, W water, S sunlight, T temperance, A air, a lot of fresh air up here. We're in the foothills of the Sierras between Sacramento and Lake Tahoe. And then R is rest, and then the final T is trust, which has to do with our relationships and the spiritual part of our life as well. And so those are the remedies that are used in both programs to varying degrees to fix the diseases that have brought them there to Weimar.
Okay, before we do the cookies though, I would like to, our polenta, it's done here.
Oh, the polenta's done, so she's going to show you this.
We're gonna place the polenta on the plate. So we got our 4 polenta slices there. Then we are going to get, we added the sausages to the veggies.
Oh, that looks very good.
And then we're gonna top it right there.
That's the way to eat asparagus right there.
Yes, you had, I know how you like it. So this is tempered with onions, garlic, peppers. Very colorful dish and very, very tasty.
You want to show that, Christian? So can you see that?
It looks amazing. It looks like it doesn't have to be breakfast even. Somebody asked if you could substitute grits for polenta.
Yes, you can use that. I like the coarse grits. There are some that are, I like those big yellow grit, but it doesn't, it's a little too coarse. In particular, when you don't use oil, it may be a little bit dry. So the shape of it also is going to be better. It holds a little bit better with that.
You mean it holds better with the
smaller medium? It's a medium coarse.
With the mamaliga.
Yeah, mamaliga. Yeah. Okay, for our cookies, you ready?
Yep, let's do it.
Number 1 ingredient is walnuts. 2.5 cups, and we grind them. I would say fairly fine.
Fairly fine, but there's still little pieces of
because that's number 1 ingredient, so I have a lot of it. Then I'm using some almond flour. Now you can use whole wheat flour, pastry flour, or other things. I found out that almond flour actually makes it more moist, and we're eliminating making 2 kind of batches, gluten-free and not gluten. So, I mean gluten versus non-gluten. And that's why I like to use the flour, the almond flour, and it's just grounded almonds. Then we add a little bit more flaxseed, a 1/3 cup of flaxseed. And
that also adds to the omega-3 content.
Yes, so can you imagine?
So walnuts and flax, one of the 2 highest sources of plant-based omega-3 altogether.
And then I add some cranberries, dried any kind of dried fruit that you want. Some people like to add carob chips to it, and we just mix it up nicely. And then we are going to add some maple syrup and vanilla. Now this recipe has about 7 ingredients, that's all. And I got the maple syrup here with the vanilla already mixed. We stir now, and then I like to make, you have a question?
No, my husband said hello, so it triggered. Let's see. Does one soak the almonds first? There's a question from Monica.
I have not soaked the almonds first because actually I bought the flour already made.
And then Lori says, what was the first T? One was temperament. There's 2 T's and we stopped.
The first one is temperance.
Temperance.
Of course, is moderation in healthy things and abstinence from the unhealthy.
I love that. I love that. That's kind of what I do in life.
Yes.
I mean, I didn't do it my whole life, just so you know, but just it's worked really well. It's really, people just really fight this concept of abstinence, Dr. Nedley. They just really fight for moderation, but I don't see it working for too many people.
No, you're exactly right. And in fact, studies have shown in the psychology world, referring to Dr. Peterson and Dr. Seligman, that temperance is the avenue for the psychological good life. So you'll experience much more of the psychological good life by abstaining from things that are unhealthy and using in moderation the things that are healthy. So they're actually being resistant from the very things that would make them happier.
Yeah, it's weird how that works, huh?
Yes, it is.
Then I use an ice cream scoop once the mixture is, and you can use 2 sizes. You can use the medium size or you can use the large size. If you want the huge cookies, you can flatten them in the shape of a cookie, or you can have the small cookies. Depends on what
And so
size
she's
you want.
just scooping it and then tamping it down with a little fork, and you can see what they look like before they go into the oven.
And when they come out of the oven, they will be soft. I usually like, by the way, the parchment paper works wonderful, particularly on those cookies, because that maple syrup, it can get really sticky and it's a mess trying to clean your pot. So, or a frying, or
a cookie pan.
Cookie pan. So I like to use the parchment paper, no oil, no mess, and this is what they look like. I made the medium one, that way they last a little bit longer.
Yeah, so that's the final product there.
So I let them
And
sit
well
about 5 minutes on the rack, cooling rack, and then I move them. Otherwise, they can break. They are a little more moist, as I said, and they will harden once they cool down. Just to show you the kale, I think it's done.
All right, the kale's coming out. Everyone on your show needs to try this kale. It is so simple, and it will be so popular for your family.
So we have the dish here. And then I have the fresh lemon with my lemon squeezer. Let's see, where did I is here?
Was Erica already a great cook before she went plant-based?
She was getting to be a good cook. You know, interestingly, the first 18 or 20 years of her life, her mother was such a good cook that she never cooked, and she was in academics. She didn't seem to be interested, but as she was dating me, she became more and more interested. I think she realized the way to a man's heart, and
Way to a man's heart is with kale.
It worked.
No, wait, but didn't she say the first time you went out, she didn't even know English yet?
Very little. The first time I met her in church, she didn't know a word of English. She arrived just 3 days before, and it happened so quickly. She wasn't planning on coming to the U.S. at that time, so she didn't learn English ahead of time, and we had to try to figure out where she was from. And there was someone who spoke Spanish, with Romanian being a Latin-based language. They could understand a little bit, and so that's how I found out she was Romanian. But after I got to know her some, I thought, you know, it would just be nice to take her out. I wasn't necessarily super interested, but, you know, and we ordered things quite differently at the restaurant meal, which was fine. I didn't force my way or anything, but she asked a little bit about what I was eating, and we started to communicate more and more after that.
So you just mix it a little bit, and you're ready to eat it. So
you still see those onion.
They taste wonderful. I like to use
aspect.
the sweet onion with that.
Yeah,
So-
it's a nice sweet onion flavor, and then she just put the lemon on there. I don't know if you saw her doing that.
Yes.
And Susanna says, can you do the kale in the Instant Pot?
I would think so. I don't see why not. Yeah. Probably just a minute or two or a very short time.
It was faster that way.
Yeah, definitely.
Nice. Well, God, you really did a tremendous amount of food in a short time. Thank you so much.
I do like to be very efficient, having 4 boys and doing a lot of things from scratch. Every minute counted, and you were able to become very efficient in the kitchen.
Oh, wow. This has been amazing. Well, I hope I get to meet some of them. Maybe the doctor will come on with his wife, like you said. That would be really wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's always great to join you, Chef AJ, and certainly hopeful that this is helpful to your audience.
I think it is. And I put as many recipes in the show notes as I could, but we're limited to 5,000 characters. So I only was able to get 3 of them in. If they want the others, I guess they'll have to buy the book because I couldn't fit. I really couldn't fit all of them in.
Okay, thank you so very much.
Oh, you're so welcome. You're amazing, and thank you. And thank you, Christian, for letting them use your kitchen today.
Yeah,
Thank
here
you.
it is.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Obviously, being plant-based didn't stunt your growth.
That was one of the big concerns people had with our children, thinking that they're gonna be under
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
height.
they're all. In fact, even though my wife is relatively short, the doctor who you might interview is actually taller than me. He's taller than 6 feet. So
They're all
plant-based.
All plant-based.
I know what that's fantastic. I love it. Thank you so much, Erica and Dr. Nedley. And thanks all of you for watching another episode of Chef AJ Live. Come back tomorrow and we have another wonderful mover and shaker in the plant-based world, Rip Esselstyn. Thanks again. This was a wonderful demonstration.